Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
All right. Hey, welcome to, what day is today? Thursday show? Yeah, it's Thursday's show. Congratulations.
Dude, it's so hard to figure out what day it is. It feels like it should be the weekend.
I know. My days are all upside down, sideways, and backwards. That's because we do weird stuff. We come in and we work on the weekends, and then we leave the shop. We went to the range. We were at the range all day on Tuesday. Tuesday, we got up early, drove out to the range, to the Mississippi Combat Training Academy range, and that is in the SPC. What's up in the SPC?
You know what's awesome is I started doing that like, I don't know, a couple months ago, and you shamed me for doing that.
What, SBZ?
No, not SBZ. Just the GPT. And now you're doing it.
Well, you know what? I'm just doing it to be ironic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, we were in the
Me too.
Stennis buffer zone. And you're like, what is a buffer zone? Well, that's an area that they...
It's where you go to have your brain buffer.
Yeah. Sometimes your thoughts have to buffer. No, we had that happened to you yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Your thoughts were buffering.
They did, yeah.
You have anything else to say about that?
I hope that's in the outtakes.
No. No, as many of you know, if you've been listening to the show for any length of time, we're very good friends with the folks over at Gun Talk Radio, Gun Talk TV. Tom Gresham, Ryan Gresham, and the entire crew are good friends of Student of the Gun Radio. I've known Tom, I don't know, for Tom and Gresham for several years. Tom and Ryan Gresham for several years. And actually, I've known them since before Student of the Gun, way back. I guess 2002 or 3 isn't a way back, but it's been a while. And
yeah, I wonder if people know that Student of the Gun was not your entry into the firearms industry. You were in there for 15 years before
Have you ever
that.
thought about writing? Yeah, at least once a month, I get somebody will say, "Have you ever thought about like doing any writing for magazines or anything?"
I thought about that. And
I thought about it. But
I wrote some books and stuff too. So yeah, I've thought about it once or twice.
Yeah, but any hooser. No, Tom is working on a new television show. Gun Talk TV's been out for a while, and they're kind of rebranding Gun Talk TV. And I actually had Zach. I could actually go to I asked the shipping ogre to put up the trailer because they did a trailer for Gun Venture.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's a trailer for Gun Venture TV. It's called Gun Talks Gun Venture, and it's like a gun adventure mixed into one. It actually premieres in July of 2016.
I have a question. Why is it called a trailer if it comes out before?
I have no idea.
Shouldn't it be called like the engine?
I don't know. I don't know, but I've been wrestling with that, and I'm sure some intelligent person in our audience will say, well, because in 1939 when they had film and then they attached it to the end of the film or something.
Somebody please answer that question for me. Why is the preview called a trailer?
I don't know. But I just know that it is. Anyway, so they did a trailer. I'm kind of sad that we're not in the trailer.
I know.
Well, you know who is? Ian Harrison from Recoil, our buddy Ian Harrison. And the Recoil. Recoil's down with Student of the Gun.
Yep.
Chris Serino, a friend of ours from Ohio. Chris Serino is in it, and of course Tom and Ryan, and they're out there doing stuff. And Student of the Gun is going to be a part of this brand new season of Gun Venture TV. Like we said, it's going to be July of 2016, so they still got a little bit of time. Well, they got plenty of time to do post-production.
You gave them plenty of bloopers. And you definitely would have been in the trailer if somehow. Something that you did would have been there.
Well, we're not going to spend the entire show talking about that. We just wanted to give you a little teaser and let you know what we did. We spent the entire day on the range, and did you tell them that blood and the bandages was not from you being actually injured, that it was from...
No, I just put up another day at the range.
Oh, okay.
I haven't told them.
Okay.
Maybe I should. I will.
They're probably concerned. There are people probably very concerned.
No, I haven't got any messages, so I was crying.
Are you okay?
Last night while I was laying in bed because nobody cares about
Nobody
me.
cared enough to ask about your health, huh?
Yeah.
Aw, that's too bad.
Or maybe just nobody follows me on Twitter because I don't think I put that on my Facebook.
But it's on the regular Facebook. It's on Student of the Guns Facebook.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did I put it there?
Yeah. I didn't have that picture. Oh.
I don't know. I guess I did.
Well, we're going to talk actually tomorrow during the grad program hour. We're going to talk in detail about our adventure there, our gun venture, and actually, we had the opportunity it was an opportunity to consider things from different angles. Often, we get as humans, we get into this mindset or this model or mode where we assume that because we understand something and we know how to do it, that because we know how, that everybody else understands and knows how as well. Or that because we suggest something, that people will appreciate that suggestion and they'll understand the value and the purpose behind it. And that's not necessarily the case. And so, and there were other things as well. I'm going to talk about why I have a cut on the palm of my left hand, which I'm annoyed about, and some other things. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow on the grad program hour, where we have some time to just chat back and forth with you guys. But today we're going to talk about the Capitol shooting. We were eating at one of our favorite restaurants, one of our favorite places to eat. Should we pimp them? I like them. Let's give them a free pimpage. We were eating at Moe's Southwest Grill.
Oh, yeah, Moe's.
Yeah, Moe's Southwest Grill, and it's one of our favorite places. And Moe's has, they have televisions on. They have two televisions, one in the back that has a Fox News playing all the time, and one in the front that has like ESPN playing all the time. So depending on where you sit, you can either sit facing the ESPN one or you can sit facing the news one, and I always sit facing with my back to the news one.
Yeah, it needs to be that way.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I sit with my back to it, and then you and Zachary sit there and read the crawler at the bottom the whole time.
Yeah, but we read it and then we let it go.
Yeah, you really? Is that true? You don't mention it at all?
No, never. I would never do that.
Anyway, well, we were there, and while we were there, the latest Washington, D.C. Capitol shooting went down. We're going to discuss that in great detail today.
Yeah, I was going to say, if the news anchors and whoever writes the text, the lower thirds, were not idiots, then I probably wouldn't have to comment on them.
Yeah, was it a shotgun? So, at one point in time, somebody had a SHUTGUN.
You can't. That's not even an accident. Somebody actually thought it was called a shotgun.
Someone typed in the lower third crawler of Fox that there was a man with a SHUTGUN.
Huh. Interesting.
On that day, they were very frightened because they had never seen a shotgun, and they weren't sure what a shotgun actually did.
So, before we get too far,
we don't want to get that far in.
Yeah, well, I would say before we get too far into it. Remember when we had the conversation with Grossman?
Yes.
About how changing the verbiage of shooting but it wasn't a massacre though. So I'm at an impasse here. I don't know.
Well, because
it actually was a shooting. It wasn't a gunfight. It wasn't
a gunfight. It was a shooting.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the difference between a gunfight? Is when two opposing parties both have guns and exchange gunfire. A shooting is when one party has a gun and the other party doesn't. Mm-hmm. So, by definition, from our Ken Hackathorn definition, we have shootings and we have gunfights. If one guy whips out a gun and shoots unarmed people, that's not a gunfight.
No.
A gunfight is fighting, because the root word in gunfight is
fight.
Is fight, right? So the root word in shooting is
shoot.
Is shoot. Yeah, shoot. Yeah.
Nuts.
Well, let's thank our friends at Duracoat because life is too ugly to have a short gun. No, strike that, reverse it. Life is too short to have an ugly gun.
My life is not ugly. If your life is ugly, I would
Buy
invite
Duracoat.
you. Yeah, buy Duracoat. I would also invite you to consider making different choices.
Brownells at brownells.com, and you can buy Duracoat products from Brownells. Frog Lube Extreme, and you can buy Frog Lube Extreme. Speaking of which, I guess I have a G-lock that needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah, I have a Century Arms TP9 SA.
SA?
And Frog Lube, I believe, is what makes Century Arms the sweetest smelling arms maker.
It could be. SWAT Fuel products, you want to get them from SWATfuelstore.com, SWATfuelstore.com. And while you're there and you're ordering your 9mm plus P and all that jazz, use the promo code SOTG2015 and save yourself some money. You know you want to do it. We said Century Arms, so I guess that we're good. We paid the bills, so good on us. Now, do you want to listen to Alex before or after we get into this? Because I think
After.
After? Okay. Well, let me clear my throat because let me clear my throat.
I was just thinking that. What did Tom say yesterday? Clearing the throat. That's what it was. Okay. Or 2 days ago, whenever it was. It's been such a long week.
Clearing your throat meaning the excessive verbiage.
Yeah.
Well, that's the difference between what we do and like broadcastery.
Right. Yeah.
That's why we
Entertainment and information.
and information. Yeah, entertainment. We just give you like little nuggets and get you excited and then move on. Don't really explain why it is. We just show you what it is. And it's hard. It's difficult for me to do that because I've been a platform instructor for a lot of years, at least 2 decades. So my methodology is to not just introduce the topic and expose you to it, but explain the value of it and to dissect it so that everybody understands. So I want to do that.
That's why you can do a radio show every single day.
Yeah, that's why we do Student of the Gun Radio, because if we were just doing the half-hour television shows, we cannot get into, even though it's visual and we can show you neat and cool and, shiny objects, we can't really get into it in great detail. There's just not the time.
We could if we picked one topic and dealt with that one topic the entire episode. Maybe. But that would be a little boring for you guys.
Maybe, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about a nation of cowards, victims, and tyrants, or tyrants and victims, depending on how you want to put it. There are numerous stories out there. The first one I'm going to source is WKRN.com, and that's Nashville. Police. Nashville man shot after drawing pellet gun at U.S. Capitol. Didn't it say gunman opens fire? The initial.
Yeah, that was the initial one.
Gunman opens fire at Capitol, shot by police officers. Nashville, Tennessee. A Tennessee man from the Antioch neighborhood of Nashville has been identified as the person involved in Monday's shooting at the U.S. Capitol. Now, if you just read the first sentence, you would think that the man identified drew a gun and opened fire at the Capitol building. But you have to read farther. According to the United States Capitol Police, Larry R. Dawson is accused of drawing a weapon while attempting to enter the security screening area of the Capitol Visitor Center around 2:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 66-year-old was shot by police and is currently in stable but critical condition at a Washington, D.C. hospital. It is unclear at this time how many officers fired or how many times Dawson was shot and where. Well, he was shot at the Capitol. I thought we already established that. He was shot in the visitor center. I don't know. I'm not sure what they didn't get from the first paragraph. He has been charged with assault with a deadly weapon and assault on a police officer while armed. Really? A deadly weapon? News 2 learned just before 10 p.m. Monday that the weapon was a pellet gun possibly a BB gun that resembled a real one.
It could be deadly.
I know.
BB guns
I know.
can be
It's
deadly.
the impression. The incident led to this is where we need to talk about it, a total lockdown of the Capitol as both staff and visitors were told to shelter in place.
How about suck it because I'm an American and I can
No,
walk
no,
where
you're
I wanna
you're
walk.
not. No, you're not. You don't understand. So this really is. That's where I want to start talking about this. Speaking of which, Capitol with an A is like money, and Capital with an O is like the. If you type in Capitol, CAPITOL shooting incident, it goes all the way back to. There's one from 1998. There's one from there's a lot, but the big one obviously is the most recent. Let's dissect this for a second, okay? And you say, well, what was this guy's problem and what was he doing? And, from my standpoint, I really don't care. And we were standing in line to get our food, to order our food, and Zach looked up and he saw the breaking news, shooting at Capitol Visitor Center, White House under lockdown, right? And Zach said, look at that. And I looked at it, and there's basically, the shrapnel thing. Remember that, Jared?
Oh, yeah.
We can't forget that. Well, that's another topic. But and so my first thoughts were, and you remember when you guys were in, I'm assuming most of you went to elementary school at some point in time, and you learned the story of the boy who cried wolf, and then when the wolf really showed up, no one came to help him because he thought it was funny to cry wolf, and people came running out. And eventually the wolf showed up, and he cried wolf, and everyone just ignored him. And depending on the, if you go back to the original tale, he probably got eaten, right? The old fairy tales were pretty graphic. The woodsman splitting the wolf, cutting him apart, and grandma getting eaten, and the kids pushing the witch into the oven and burning her up. There was a lot of murder in old fairy tales. The modern media, the modern news media, has become, they live and die in the moment, as in how can we get people to stop what they're doing and look at us today? Even if it means that we have zero credibility or that we're constantly putting people in a state of panic. And you have to ask yourself, let's face it, is this constant state of panic and fear, is it just a byproduct of a desire for ratings, or is it something more deliberate? Are we hammering the American people constantly with this shock drama so that they'll be in a constant state of fear? Well, who stands to gain, Jared? If you have a populace that is in a constant state of fear and a feeling of helplessness, who stands to benefit from that?
Not us.
Well, no, not us.
It would be
Whoever steps forward and says that there's a solution or offers a solution.
Yeah.
Or
it's just like the Reichstag fire creates a problem. Hey, I have a solution. And then,
the thing burned down. You need to support us.
Yeah.
You need to give us all authority. So what do we have? First of all, and you can vouch for me, I was not really all that excited about it because I said, show me the body count and then we'll talk. And the initial reports are always nonsense.
they don't even know.
They grab somebody who was running out of a building and say, what did you see or what happened? And they're like, I don't know, I'm just running because everybody else is running. I like in the elevator, the whole elevator experiment where you go into an elevator and people come in and you look up at the ceiling and they look up at the ceiling. Or you look, have you ever done that?
No, I've never done it. I'm
Yeah,
going to try it now, though.
Yeah, you go into an elevator with other people and look up at the ceiling, and they'll all look up at the ceiling. Why are you running? It's the herd mentality or the sheep mentality. Why are you running? I don't know. Everyone else is running. Why is everyone else running? I don't know. But I figured everyone else is running, so I better start running too. Now maybe that's a valuable thing. Remember the story of the psychology story about the monkeys, Jared?
Yeah.
Did an article about the monkeys, about we do things and we don't even know why we're doing them. We just do them. And then you have these idiot talking heads, what Shepard called meat puppets. You have these meat puppets that get on CNN, and even Fox is no better. They pretend like but they get up there and they just read darp, 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 be scared, be scared, be scared. Well, what's going on? Well, we don't really know. We're just going to keep showing you the same pictures over and over and over and over again. Turn it off. Turn it off. Now, do you think that here's what we know. We know that an outraged individual pulled out a gun-shaped object. It wasn't a legitimate or a real firearm, but it was a gun-shaped object. If that would have happened at the security checkpoint of a courthouse in Provo, Utah, do you think it would have been national news?
No.
Do you think they would have put the entire city of Provo, Utah on lockdown?
No.
Let's say Jackson, Mississippi. Somebody's going into a courthouse or a Capitol building in Jackson, Mississippi, and they pull out an object that looks like a gun, and the local constabulary open fire and ventilate them. So
Probably
we put the
would have done a better
entire
job.
city of Jackson, Mississippi on lockdown.
Yeah.
And what else did we see? I chirped a tweet about that, about how are people supposed to feel safe with all these men with black rifles walking around. So the truth of the matter is, and I know it looked like a gun. Don't give me that. It could have been real. I know. It could have been real. It could have been real. But after that, after the incident, they shoot the dude, they scoop him up, they put him in an ambulance, they take him away. And what do we see all over the television, all over the internet, and all over our phones? Pictures of men with black rifles all over the place, on the Capitol steps, outside of the White House, walking up and down the streets, standing at checkpoints, at guardhouses. Jared, do you ever get the feeling like they've got these cool toys and they can't wait to get them out and play with them?
Yeah.
Does it seem like that to you?
Yep.
We had an incident that probably the actual gunfire incident lasted maybe 5 seconds. Like literally 5 seconds from the time somebody said, gun, gun. And, the local cop whipped out his Roscoe and pow, pow, pow. Dude's on the ground, 5 seconds. And so for hours and hours, they lockdown, lockdown. What are we teaching people? Well, number one, my first thought when this was all going down, my first thought was, great. Now they're portraying the entire ruling class, political class of D.C. as what? As victims. And they kept showing the CNN or whatever it was, kept showing the White House in lockdown. Was there really ever any danger at all to the occupants of the White House? And it's funny, Jared, I looked on the what is that British, the Mirror, the Daily Mirror, or the, what was our usual UK source?
Daily Mail.
The dailymail.uk, dailymail.uk. And it said that shots were fired meters from the White House. Mm-hmm. Now, I guess that wasn't a lie, because meters is plural, so you could say 2,000 meters, or 3,000 meters. It said shots fired meters away from White House. I'm like, come on. So, but what do we create What is created by showing pictures of the White House and then putting across the bottom, White House in lockdown as shooting?
Fear.
Fear. And you're also, in addition to that, you're setting up this sense of victimization. Oh, my Lord. These poor people in D.C. We have to. You're setting them up as victims of aggression. They're victims. So we have a victim class that we're perpetuating. And how many more times do we need to talk about the shelter-in-place nonsense? But they established that as the norm. When a member of the state, when they raise their hand, you have to bow down. Folks, this is insane. It is literally, we are living in an insane world. And am I going to say that this incident was not that big of a deal? Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. This was not that big of a deal. This kind of crap happens every single day in the United States, in the world. A person who has an axe to grind or who is disgruntled or whatever shows up somewhere with a gun or a knife or whatever and gets shot by the police. Okay. And if you examine it, if you take out all of the emotion and the location and the contrived drama, it pretty much is an open and shut case. We have access to a secured area. Okay, whatever it is, it's a courthouse, it's a Capitol building, and you ever notice that the only people that are afforded or that need to be afforded this super special protection are the ruling class? Well, they have to protect the ruling class. The peasantry can just suck it, but the ruling class, they must be protected. And why is it okay? Somebody get Shannon the sandwich maker. Somebody get Gabby Giffords and her cuckold husband, that bald puke face astronaut who they should have left up there. Somebody get them on the phone and ask them why it's okay for. I mean, Jared, aren't we supposed to get a fright when we see assault weapons? Aren't black rifles supposed to make us scared?
Yes.
The super scary, Wasn't it the sandwich makers that did the fake pictures of like people in grocery stores holding AR-15s?
Yeah.
Like, this one of these is legal, the other is not. And we're supposed to be scared. I mean, when we see black rifles are the epitome of evil in the world.
In those things, they did the whole dark lighting the black rifle and bright lighting the other thing to make it look like the black rifle
menacing.
is
super
supposed to be
menacing.
scary, and it's ridiculous.
How is it okay for agents of the state to walk all over and point their black rifles at the peasantry? Oh, that's it. Thank you for answering your own question, Paul. Because it is okay for the state to possess black rifles, to point them at the peasantry, but it's not okay for the peasantry to possess them. Do you ever notice after an incident like this where you get agents of the state just running all over the place with evil death machines in their hand, that you never hear crap from you don't hear anything from the sandwich makers. Or they'll say, like, insanely retarded things like, this just proves we need more gun control.
Because it requires actual thought to do something
actually have to
that
think.
has meaning to it.
So when you look at instances like this, and this is not the last time this is going to happen, we have a huge just media meltdown over essentially nothing. A very, very small, inconsequential event. In the scheme of the world, how many of you know that, how many people died in, let me pull this up because I'm betting you probably don't know this because it didn't happen in D.C. and none of your ruling class elites were threatened by a BB gun. But how many of you know, come on, computer, work faster. Maybe my brain is buffering. Maybe my thoughts are buffering.
Yeah, I would say your thoughts buffering.
Oh, yeah. How many of you are aware of the fact that at least 65 people were killed and hundreds were injured at an Easter suicide blast in Pakistan. Pakistani Christians gathered at a park to celebrate Easter and were murdered and maimed in the name of, I guess maybe it was it like Shinto, the Shinto priests?
I don't know. Can you drop a link in the
blew them up? The Shinto
notes.
priests blew them up? Who blew them up? I don't know. We're going to have to ponder on that one. We're going to have to ponder. Oh, the Pakistani faction of the Taliban. Now, the Taliban obviously represent Buddhists, right? Or is it the Southern Baptists that the Taliban represents? Who does the Taliban represent? I have to just scratch my head for a second there. I'm not really sure. But while that's going on, ask yourself, seriously, before I said anything to you, did you know that? Did you know that the 7th century death cult targeted Christians in Pakistan and murdered at least 65 and 300 plus more were maimed? You probably didn't know that, did you? I don't know. Why would that be? Why would that be? So while the 7th century death cult is murdering Christians worldwide, they're just raping the hell out of Europe. They're murdering and raping the hell out of Europe. And what's going on in the United States? We're going to do a complete and total media shutdown. We're going to do a freaking meltdown because an irate dude with a BB gun gets ventilated. Should we talk about shrapnel? U.S. Capitol Police shot a Tennessee man Monday afternoon after he pulled out what appeared to be a weapon at a Capitol Center. A female civilian bystander was injured by shrapnel, but no U.S. Capitol Police officers were injured. We believe that the incident is a single person, yada, 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 yada. So the only injuries besides that were due to and you say, all of you guys out there that are hip military historians, and you're like, oh, stop saying shrapnel. Shrapnel is a very specific thing, and you do not get. Talk to the audience for a second, Jared.
I was just thinking that. Did you know that shrapnel? It happens when bullets hit steel, and then they come back at you and they hit you. So that's what the media thinks shrapnel is.
Well, it says fragments of a bomb, shell, or other object thrown out by an explosion. It says a shell containing bullets or pieces of metal timed to burst and explode on impact. See, shrapnel, if you go all the way back to World War I, it was a very specific thing. And what a lot of military historians will say is that the word shrapnel is been misused. It says a projectile that consists of powder charge and a large number of lead balls that has exploded in flight. Or a piece of an explosion from a bomb, shell, or other object like a grenade. When a bullet passes through or misses an individual and it fragments and comes apart and a little piece of it sticks in your body, that's not shrapnel. But we really would not expect the members of the media today to be able to define between a bullet fragment and shrapnel. So that's asking way, way, way too much. But Jared, how many times did the CNN whatever news channel flash the word injured by shrapnel?
I don't know. More than one.
More than once. It was so many times that Zach was talking about, Dad, what is it? Says that somebody was injured by shrapnel. Did like a bomb explode or something? No, a bullet fragment.
They were just trying to incite fear.
Yesterday, we were shooting steel, and a piece of shrapnel hit me in the leg.
Yep.
I should have checked. I should have called in sick today.
You should have called CNN.
And told them there was a piece of shrapnel in my leg. Folks.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? And where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, cause it's about ready to hit the fan. Come to ready. 2012, not about the re-election of an antichrist. Come to
All right, it's Thursday, and Thursday means that we're going to have a Student of the Gun homeroom brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters, makers of the Super Duck Deluxe. And that's all it is. It's nothing else. It's just the Super Duck Deluxe and the Freedom Carry and the Purse Defender and the Bedside Backup. If you need to fix a gun and attach it to something, go to crossbreedholsters.com and they'll help you out. All right, thank you also. Oh, who sang that song?
Madison Rising.
Madison Rising.
You can check them out at madisonrising.com. They just released some sad news. I'm sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
You going to tell people, or are you just going to hold it to yourself?
Well, I mean, most of them have already seen it, but Dave Bray, the lead singer, is stepping down from Madison Rising. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not see that.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No.
Oh. Yeah.
I saw somebody put a picture of Dave Bray up on our grad program. Is that why?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay. Well, that's sad. That's too bad.
See what happens when you just look at pictures and you don't read?
Oh, really? You want to talk about busy? All right. On our homeroom segment, we like to talk about, generally I talk about hardware. On Tuesday, during the quiet time, we talk about software primarily. And today we're going to talk about hardware. And you guys know I kind of have a hard-on for gun sights. Can I say hard-on for gun sights?
Yes.
I think I can. It's 2016. Believe it or not, it's 2016 as we're doing this. It's time to advance. It's time to move on. It's time to understand why it is that we do what we do. And number one, 3-dot sights, the 2 white dots in the back and the 1 white dot up front, that's toddler time, okay? That is literally toddler time. First of all, if you use those sights, if you're like, well, it's easy to teach people how to. That's how you teach shooters to shoot. Is you teach them to line up the 3 white dots. If you talk to any experienced firearms instructor, they'll tell you that if people actually, instead of using the front sight blade itself, if they just line up the white dots, the 3 white dots, that they generally will. I believe it will shoot low. I believe they'll shoot low. Now, you said, but Paul, you said that white is good on your front sight because it reflects light and you can pick it up. Yes, I did. And you know what? If you put twice the amount of white light reflecting material in the rear sight as you do in the front, what does the human eye do? Well, it first goes to the brightest light source. So think about it. Which sight is closer to your eye? Well, and you're like, why are you bringing this up? Because when we were out with Tom Gresham, he brought out a new Ruger, I don't know if they call it the All-American or the American, the new pistol from Ruger, the striker-fired pistol from Ruger called the American, right? Brings it out, lets me shoot it, and I point it out, and guess what? It's got the 3 white dot sight configuration. 2 white dots in the back, 1 white dot in the front. It's a brand new pistol. They had the opportunity to do anything they wanted to with this gun. And so what did they do? They went back 30 years to the concept or the idea that putting 3 white dots on the gun is the best thing to do. So when you point the gun out in front of your face, the thing that is closest to your eye, well, besides your arm and what have you, but is the rear sight. and then you look through the rear sight, and then there's a front sight. You put twice the amount of light reflecting material in the rear sight, and your eye is initially drawn to the rear sight. That's the way humans work. Then you have to ignore that and find the front one. Which one on a gun is most important? The front one. Every time a manufacturer, and it's not just Ruger, it's almost everyone does some type of rear sight retardation like that. I take and if it's my gun, I take a black marker and I mark that white paint out because it's freaking artisan retarded. And I'm going to call on, right now, this day, this time, on Student of the Gun Radio, I'm going to call on every gun manufacturer in America. Stop doing that retarded crap. We have the opportunity to be better. And also, Novak sights are backwards. Novak snag-free rear sights serve about as much purpose as racing stripes on a car. They look cool, and they do nothing. And I 100% challenge any member of the listening audience to tell me how snag-free sights in the current configuration benefit the shooter, other than just looking cool, like racing stripes on a car. So what Ruger did on the new all-American Ruger Striker-fired 9mm pistol is they put a Novak rear sight, snag-free rear sight, with two bright white dots on it. I have nothing against Wayne Novak, but that sight is no more than, it's just eye candy. It has no practical value. But we just can't let go of it because it's too cool.
But it
looks too cool.
The perceived value of that sight is high to the end user, so they keep using it because
Why?
The end user wants it.
Why?
Because that's what they want.
Why do they
They're there
want
to sell
that?
guns. They're not there to change the way people think. That's what we're here for. All they're doing is selling guns.
Wow.
So it makes sense from a manufacturer standpoint.
To keep doing stupid stuff.
Yeah. They don't know any better. They're manufacturing
It's like
guns.
putting the hooks on the finger hooks on the front of the trigger guards so you can stick your left index finger up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Folks, be an educated person. At very least, educate yourself. All right, I'm all done talking. It's Thursday. This is the end of the public week of Student of the Gun Radio. But fear not. Fear not. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday, with a grad program bonus hour. We're going to talk about our gun venture with Tom Gresham and his crew and whatever else I feel like talking about because it's my show. How's that sound? Jared, there may be someone in the Student of the Gun listening audience that would really like to become a part of the grad program and get all the super cool G-Whiz bonuses. Speaking of which, I'll be working on the Tactical Tutor newsletter for April.
Yeah, that'll be released on April 1st, which I believe is actually Friday.
So what do they get, and how can they be a part of it?
Well,
Bam.
You go to studentofthegunradio.com, click on the Become a Member tab, and then you can follow the directions from there. It tells you everything that you get. Just off the top of my head, you get the extra hour every week. You get the Tactical Tutor newsletter every month. You get immediate access to celebrity interviews that we've had, including James Yeager. We got Dave Spalding.
Ken Hackathorn, Dave Spalding. Masad
Bill
Ayub.
Wilson, Masad Ayub.
Wow.
We had Dave Bray from Madison Rising. We had, we had Dave Grossman on
Who
there.
else did I just reminded you. I was like, hey, we got that one in there. And you
We had
said,
Tony
yeah.
Blauer.
Tony Blauer.
We've had a bunch of people on there for celebrity interviews. But you can get all of that and access to the Liberty Mastermind Facebook group where there's a ton of awesome people all in the same place for you to communicate with. Go to studentofthegunradio.com, click on Become a Member, and then follow the directions from there.